Welcome to CKLA Lesson 1, Unit 3. Today we will identify the different spellings of and remember when we have the letters in the slashes like that, that's the sound. So we're not saying the letters, we're saying the sound. The A sound. We're going to read our tricky words. And we're going to ask and answer questions about key details in the story, A Letter from the Publisher. We have a new list of spelling words this week. The spelling words this week have the R-controlled vowels. You practiced these a little bit in Unit 2. What are the three vowels controlled by R? ER, OR, and AR. So when you hear that R sound, they're going to have a vowel with it. So ER makes the sound. I want you to make the sound. Now what two letters make the sound? E and R. Or. OR makes or. Make the or sound. Or. And AR makes the R sound. R. AR. Now let's read our words for ER. Sister, letter, expert. These are our spelling words this week. You hear the in each one of them? Now let's read our OR words. Born, sports, short. Now let's read our R words. Mark, started, backyard. You hear that R in there? And our tricky word that doesn't meet our spelling rule is some. Make sure that you practice these words each night with somebody at home. Identify that or, and R sound in each one of your words. And practice your tricky words some. Okay, now look at this letter. This letter is A. What sound would you make if you saw this spelling? If you just see A in a word, what sound does it make? Now let's think of the words that have this sound. It makes the sound, doesn't it? Think of some words that would have in them. Apple, ask, ant, actor. Ambulance, astronaut, antler, alligator. Now this is the short vowel sound. Do you see how it's with the slashes beside it? It's saying for A. Now look, your sound, like in pat, flat, hat, clap, snap. Okay, now there's also another way to say the A sound. The A also makes, with our sneaky E or our tricky E, it says its name. It says A. So like these words would be ace, cake, bake, case, because of the sneaky E or the magic E. Name, cave, lake, game. So this magic E makes the A say its name. Now there's several ways or other ways to write the A sound. Over the next few days, you're going to learn some additional spellings for that sound. Now we've got A consonant E that makes our A sound. Today we will focus on the A sound. Let's think of words that have this sound. Play, rain. Now look at these two different ways. We've got AY and AI, but both of these letter combinations make the same sound. They make the A sound. Day. Ooh, look at this one. Wait. Look at the EIGH. That also makes the A sound. Now think of some other words with the A sound. We will sort these together on the next slide. Okay, let's come up with a few. So we've got A and our magic E. A, saying its name. AI, AY, and some of those odd ducks that just really aren't like the others. Now look at some of our examples. Same and lake. They both say A with that sneaky E rule. Then you've got baking. Now the reason we don't have that E on baking is because you drop the E and add ing when it's a consonant E at the end of bake. Paper. Now that ER, that's a sound. But paper, it's kind of like that E still goes with the A. But the A says its name in that one. Rain and wait, your AI says A. Day and say, your AY says A. And the little odd ducks that they don't always say A. Great, here your E and your A are saying A. Hey, what two letters say A in hay? EY, right? And way is that really, really odd one, EIGH, says A. Now, my face-to-face learners, we're going to play a little bit of baseball. So if I call you up to the board, you're going to get to read the word. If you get it right, your team gets a point. Okay, so if you're a distance learner, you can find somebody at home to play, or you can kind of play against yourself. All right, first batter up. So if you need to pause the video after we go to each word slide, you can pause it, but someone is going to come to the board. So if you're in my room, our sub can pick someone to go. If you're a distance learner, you can read the word, but you may want to pause it because I'm going to tell you the word after so you can check your answer. And. All right, next batter up. Read the word. A, good. All right, next batter up. R. Next batter up. Am. Next batter up. All. At. And. By. Good. That's a sneaky one. Batter up. Another by. Good. Best. Good. Can. Do. Batter up. From. Next batter. Going through the lineup. Have. Next batter. Here. Is. Batter up. It. New batter. If. In. We're going to go a little faster. Keep. Let. Look. My. Must. No. Not. One. Once. Off. Pull. Said. See. So. Tell. To. There. the, us, was, word, what, why. Oh, there's a tricky one. Batter up. Were, when, which, went, where, who, yes, you, your, says. Okay, now I want you to find or take a pause, and you're going to pass out the workbook page 3 that's titled A Letter from the Publisher. So you can either pause it and pass it out, or if you're a distance learner, find it in your packet. We are now in Skills Lesson 3, so our stories will be coming from a new book, which is called Kids Excel. So if we use this little book in our out of our reading series, we'll go into that third book, and this is the title of our book, Kids Excel. If we look online and we go to our Amplify app through Clever and use our library, in our library we'll look in the Kids Excel book for our stories. Now think about the word excel. Excel means to do something very well. So the title is supposed to be the name of a magazine. So each story in this reader is written as if it were an article in a magazine. So it may be like a letter. I was a magazine reader growing up. We had lots of magazines. We didn't have the internet like you guys do. But magazines were always fun because it was small, chunky stories. And they were, to me, easier and funner to read. So this book is full of magazine-type stories. Many magazines are composed of nonfiction or informational articles. Now, I like nonfiction growing up. Nonfiction means not fake, so it's real stories about real people and real things. The characters in Kids Excel are fictional, but the stories are realistic. So this is like realistic fiction. It didn't happen, but it could happen to somebody around your age. These may be some magazines that you recognize. So realistic fiction is a genre that consists of stories that could have actually happened, but didn't happen. So there's not all those make-believe things that happen. It could happen in a real person's life, but it's a made-up story. Unrealistic events are imaginary events that could not happen in real life. So you're not going to see as many of these unrealistic events in a realistic fiction story. So there are things that could really happen. The first story today is called A Letter from the Publisher. Now, publishers are people in charge of printing magazines and books. So you have to think about, as we've done our different writing activities, we get ready to publish. That's our last thing that we do. So your published book is a final draft of a book that people are going to read. So think about what your job would be if you were a printer of a magazine or a book. Now, what in this, we're going to predict a little bit. The title of the story is A Letter from the Publisher. Now, what do you think a publisher would be writing? What would someone be writing a publisher about? So take a minute to predict. Now, we're going to look in you guys are going to have a copy of your story today, but it's also in that book that I said was on the bookshelf that goes with our reading series, and it's also on Amplify. So if you need to look in the table of contents, if you're reading it at home or practicing reading it and you want to find it on Amplify, you look in that Kids Excel book, and it is on the table of contents listed as A Letter from the Publisher. Now, this story is set up like a letter. So there's a beginning, greeting, which is also called a salutation, the body of the letter, it's the main points, and the signature at the bottom. So if you are a face-to-face learner, you can pause the video now, and we need to pass these out so we can look at these different parts of a letter. If you are a distance learner, you may find it in your packet now. It is titled A Letter from the Publisher. And I want you to look at the different parts of the letter. Now, before we start, these different spellings will be in our story that we're going to read, so we kind of need to recall some of these different multi-syllable words. Okay, our ass sound, let's read our words. Math, chat, ask, dads. Our ing, running, jumping, skipping, standing. And our multi-syllable words, so we'll break them apart. Different, inspire, effect, effect. Good. Okay, now let's talk about some vocabulary before we read. We've got the word jot, inspire, and effect. So if you jot something down, you're just writing it down quickly, like writing some notes down. If you inspire, someone inspires you, you want to grow up and be like them. Here we've got Nelson Mandela, and he was an amazing man that people wanted to be like him. We've talked about many different philosophers that people wanted to be like in our Greek myths and our Greek civilizations. And then you've got effects. Things that are your effects. A cause makes an effect happen. So effects are things that happen because of something else. Now this reader is going to give you a lot of ideas of what this whole book is going to be about. So as you're reading, you're going to be think carefully to find out what the name of the publisher and learn what he does. So take just a minute, or take a 5-minute break. You're going to start your timer for 5 minutes, and you're going to read. You're going to read for fluency and accuracy. You can read it again, but you're going to read it until the 5-minute timer goes off. Read it for fluency and for comprehension. When you are finished reading it, you can play the video and answer a couple of questions for me. Okay, so pause the video. Okay, who is the publisher? The publisher is Mark Deeds, right? Did you find that out when you were reading the story? What does it mean to publish something? What does it mean to publish something? If you publish something, you print it. That's our last step in writing. You print it. It's ready for others to see. Mr. Deeds visits with his kids to excel at things. What are some of the activities at which the kids excel? What do they do well in? They excel at skipping rocks, math, and sports like swimming and jumping rope. Good. Now today you are going to take home 1.1, which is page 1, that gives your parents your spelling words for the week. Now you're going to use page 1.2 to read your story, a letter from the publisher, and you're going to answer the questions on page 1.3 using your story. Now you're only going to turn in page 1.3. So your story, a letter to the publisher or from the publisher, is going to be taken home so you can practice reading it at home with your parents, because these are good phonics skills that you need to really focus on. So you're going to complete 1.3 and turn it in. Use the story to help you. Alright, now let's identify, let's go over our learning targets again. I can identify the different spellings of the A sound. We definitely went over some new ones that we haven't seen before. I can read tricky words, and I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story, a letter from the publisher. And you guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow during skills.